I was about to jump in and get you to rate it, Nick, but
what was that?
I was going to get you to rate it. We won't do that to you. But ladies and gents, from wherever you are joining us, India, Mongolia, Australia, got a few Canadians, English. Welcome to Up and About Podcast. Nicky, Jay, and Shano, welcome, boys. Nick, mate, well fed. You look good, man. You look fresh. You look showered. You good?
Good evening, Nathan. Good evening, Shane. Coming to you live from AFL Central. Who would have thought that? Amazing. I do feel refreshed. Beautiful winter's day. And here we go. Are we a third of the way through the season? Is that where we're at?
Give or take. I was never a mathematician, but yeah, who knows? But Shano, welcome, mate. A lot to touch on today, brother. You feeling good? You look fantastic.
Yeah, I feel great. Just had a scorching hot shower. I'm a little bit peached around the cheeks, but I'm ready to go. Can't wait for tonight. There's a lot to touch on. There's potentially 100 games coming up in the next 8 weeks, according to our Lord and Saviour, King Gill. So we might have to do this daily. I don't know, guys. Just check your schedules, but open it up, be ready. This is happening. The train's coming. Toot, toot.
You heard it first, ladies and gents. Daily podcast. But you touched on it, mate. Let's just open it up straight away. We had the long bomb coming in tonight about the state of the game, AFL. I don't think in my memory, there's ever been any kind of environment as we have today. We've got scores that are just very rarely touching on triple figures. We've got matches that are deplorable, and they're the coach's words. We've got no certainty from anywhere, but we've also got one of the most even competitions that I've seen in some time, which is what the AFL has been striving for many years. So, Shane, let's open it up, mate. There's a lot to touch on. The state of the game, AFL today, mate. Are you loving it? What parts are you loving? Are you despising it? And I guess I'll throw a little sneaky one here. How is it faring against the ongoing battle against the NRL? Shane, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Barnier. It's a very interesting subject. I had the misfortune of I actually had the fortune of watching St Kilda and Freo, and had to leave at quarter time because I had another social outing to
go. so did 22 St Kilda players, but continue.
Keep on punching, Nicky. That's cool. I like that.
That could be the new segment. Sorry, Shane.
All right, we can turn it off for tonight. See you next week.
But
then I also went to Sunday's game, which I did listen. I read about the toing and froing between the coaches. That was the worst live event I've ever been to. I'm not talking sport. I'm not talking entertainment. I saw Speed 2 at the cinema down there at Loganholme. That was what a flick. But I'm putting it just above that game. It was just a great vantage point. Saw how the Swans were setting up, how the Tigers were playing. It was wet. That's no excuse. There's been some excellent wet games over the journey. You've got one as well, Nico, that you could throw in, and same with you, Nathan. But look, we can't have games like that. That was when we arrived. It was all, the Tigers. This is their first game in front of a crowd since the 2019 grand final. The first 5 minutes was reasonable. The rest was just diabolical. We can't sell that. That is a product that is absolutely. It's worse than anything I've ever seen. So. That can't be the standard. And whatever we need to do, I don't like rule changes, but there has to be some sort of incentive or disincentives for these clubs to play in a certain way, because you'd have to be a masochist to go there and embrace that. It was just awful.
Well, I think it comes down, it's a very slippery slope, rather, if you start trying to tell coaches how to coach. I think it's based on merit, in the sense that, if they keep delivering performance like that, then they're not going to keep their job for, I know he's had a lot of success, but gee whiz. But I think it comes down to, the intent with the football as well. There's the idea of direct football, straight down the guts, get your key forwards going up, taking taking the game on. We saw it from Carlton, who gave us one of the performances of the round, I thought. But Nick, what's your take on the AFL today, mate? You're a passionate AFL supporter, always have been. Are these great days? Are they bad days? Is there good in the bad? Is there bad in the good? How you seen it?
It's definitely, I know we're discussing it, it's definitely a discussion point. But I'm very passionate about this. It is pretty ordinary at the moment. You can't lie that the amount of times you look down at your phone during a game of footy, there hasn't been any games this year that I've been 100% focused. Maybe round one pre the full pandemic of COVID when the Pies were playing against the Doggies. But I think the alternative product is so ordinary. And I'm not saying that to wave the red flag at the bull that is rugby league, but it's just, as a purist, it doesn't take skill or brain, and that's where our game has hung its hat on. It takes skill and brain, and at the moment, coaches are stifling that brain. Coaches are stifling the natural abilities and talents, and we saw, and no doubt we'll talk about him later on, young Isaac Rankin from the Gold Coast Suns, who he just went out and played footy. But how many weeks is that going to wash over till Stewie Jew just tells him, these are the three things you can do, and for God's sake, don't do anything else. That's the fear. That's the fear. But, you know, Shane's right with that Richmond-Sydney game. It was, where could you look? I guess the exciting thing with all these clubs coming up here and playing, we're going to see a lot more football being played, a chance to get in and watch. But is a coach going to have the courage to say, rightio, let's just stick two big blokes inside forward 50, park them there, let their opponents run off, and have someone who can break a line, just get the footy in, kick it 55, 60 metres and get it in, which is going to make defensive structures set that little bit further back. But it's happening at local footy, boys. That's the reality. So local footy has great structure, and it's a miniature version, but I still think that local footy is a better product to watch because it's not as polished as that. So you're still seeing the big blokes taking plucks and things. So it's a difficult question. We don't want to be talking the game down, but it is being talked down a lot, isn't it?
I don't really know where to go with this, mate, to be honest. There's a lot of teams that we touched on earlier. They're just, it appears they're not playing with any free will. There's a lot more. Is it wrong of me to say that there seems to be, with the new generation coming through, outside of a handful of players, their intent and aggression at the football, it just seems to be a little bit diluted than previous generations coming through. So all of a sudden, you've got players that aren't running through the ball and picking the ball up. You've got a lottery with the bloody tackles and holding the ball. No one knows what's happening with that. You've got teams that aren't taking the game on. And then, like, to have a standout performance by Carlton, of all teams, and credit to them, is this what we're going to see for the rest of the season? And is it just because of the shortened quarters? I don't think that's a good enough excuse. Shane, do you see this opening up to a more enjoyable brand of direct football, in the back half of the season?
I can't see it. I don't want to be the negative Nelly. I love the game. And that's why, I'm on the show and I'm communicating about it because I care. But I would imagine if you were to talk to someone, say, maybe Nick Rewalt would be a perfect example, who came into the system pretty early on in the 2000s. It was a fairly freewheeling, fun, attacking style of football during that era in the late 90s. It'd be interesting to talk to someone like that and say, all right, during your training sessions when you first came on board, how much time were you spending on attack versus defence? And then compare that to the end where it was all focused on the 18-man zone and the structure and essentially parking the bus soccer style. That's where we've got to now, where everyone sets up behind the footy and just protects the scoreline. So I can't. I'd love to see it open up, but the current player now is indoctrinated with a focus on structure, There's such a focus on protecting the head that you can't attack a contest like you once did. The Craig Bradley tap down from Harry Madden, him rolling through at 1,000,000 miles an hour, get the ball, kick it long. They're at risk of it's a risky play now, because if they a millisecond behind the football and they shoulder to a head, that's 3 or 4 weeks. So the game and the contest has absolutely been sanitised. Concussion, absolutely. It's a very important point which no one's really figured out yet. But that attacking brand at that pill, 2 fit men going at 100 miles an hour, it's not that game anymore. So is that good in terms of the medical welfare of our athletes? Probably. Is it affecting the game and the quality of it and the excitement of it? No doubt.
Fair enough. Nick, mate, if you had to pick your top 3 teams, you get to pick 3. Shane, I'll come to you in a second. That are going to take out the actually scratch that altogether. Let's just go 2. Who's making the grand final? Make it nice and easy.
Geez, you'd be...
Nice and easy. Yeah.
That's a good question, Nathan. How long's the piece of string that's in the back room, in the back closet behind your last 3 T-shirts in the corner of your cupboard? I mean, that's like, how can you answer that question?
2.5 meters.
I'll change it to, who are the 2 teams who are looking like playing the type of football that you'd want to watch when you open your first beer at 8 a.m. on a Saturday near the end of the year, whether it be October, September. I'm talking grand final day. I would say...
Match Nico.
Well, no, I'll be honest. If you had to put 2 teams in at the moment, I've got Brisbane and Collingwood. I bluffed you last week by tipping Hawthorn to beat the Pies, but I think Collingwood's best and Brisbane's best is the 2 best sides. Brisbane did lose on the weekend. They'll be travelling too much now with everyone coming up here, so they won't have to worry about playing Geelong in Sydney. And Collingwood's best, like, we've got players to come back. I think it's those 2. But as far as watchability, I still think the Suns are very attractive to watch. And Essendon are perhaps just the sleeping giants with a game in hand sitting in the top 4. They're just going about their business. No one's ranting and raving about them. So, yeah, what do you think, Shane? Who are your 2?
My 2 are the West Coast Eagles. They'll go back, and everyone's talking about the 10 Victorian teams coming to Queensland, but they'll be heading to the WA hub, and at 3-3, they're going to go back and get a very solid stint at home. So I think that'll be important for them. And I can't split between your boys and GWS, Nico. I just think that preliminary final last year, I know the Giants had a bit of a blip on the weekend, but their best footy this year has also been pretty good. But watchability, Blues, Suns, Dockers, same.
Isn't that funny? Watchability. He had watchability. Who would have thought we'd be saying the Blues and the Suns? Carlton were the only team to kick 3 figures on the weekend.
Absolutely.
It goes to say a lot about youth and freedom. Just don't stifle it. Let them keep going. I know Stuart Dew re-signed today with the Suns. Don't now try and clamp down on this year and try and do something weird. Just keep going. Just keep letting them play.
Agreed, Nico.
Amen. Gents, I reckon we've already seen the grand final. It will be a replay for the grand final, which brings us into our first match. Geelong and Brisbane Lions will play it off in the grand final. But they were the first game in the round that was, and Geelong get the chocolates. I think Brisbane Lions, a little bit underwhelming. A little bit has been said about the boys, but I think they'll bounce back very hard this week. But Shane, look, Geelong, they're a tricky side to kind of pen down. Obviously, a lot of talk about the ageing roster. Dangerfield, not that old, obviously. But look, I still reckon the shortened quarters, if Geelong are going to win a premiership, it's got to be this year. Surely everything goes in their favour. But, mate, good win from Geelong. And I think this could be the loss that Brisbane needed.
Yeah. It's early in the season to say that. They've travelled twice and they've lost twice. So I know they'll be very excited about Paluchet and all the talk up here about a Gabba Grand Final. I'll tell you what, the AFL would prefer to play in front of 3,000 seagulls at the MCG before they play at the Gabba. So let's just put that to bed. 40,000 people in an absolutely...
Can you get Wi-Fi at the Gabba yet?
Excuse me?
Can you get Wi-Fi at the Gabba yet, or is it because the concrete pylons is too thick?
You can get $17 for a hot dog and a beer, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, what a place. So
there won't be a grand final at the Gabba. I can tell you right now. They'll build a ground at Emerald Lakes Golf Club before they play a grand final at the Gabba.
Good call. But yeah, the Cats were solid. Their second and third quarters in particular, they were ravenous. They were intense. Their prime movers were up and about. Gary didn't play that well, but the speedsters like Rowan, for example, were just prolific. Hawkins smashed Andrews. He played a terrific match. So yeah, I wouldn't say that they haven't had a flawless start to the year. The Lions have played a couple of good games. They beat Adelaide, but the Cats are solid, and we know how robust and similar to, I guess, maybe not using Hawthorn, but they've been around each other a long time. They're going to travel. They're pretty resilient. So they're one to look for, and they should be, the way it looks at the moment, in the top 4 to 6. They're playing good footy.
Nick, where do you put Geelong at the moment, mate? Shane's touched on a few points there. Do you agree with his sentiment, or do you think they're going to slide out?
I rate Geelong very highly, and you might remember many of the conversations we had when you were back in the Queensland, as in the Queen's homeland. Clever. On the other side of the world. You like that?
I like it. Yeah.
I rate, like, on paper, they're one of the best lists. I know it's aging. What does that aging look like with the shortened quarters and things? But their third quarter was the best quarter of football for the year. 7 goals to 0. That's what won them the game.
Yeah.
It was an outstanding quarter of footy. And Shane, you said the great Gaz wasn't too flash. I thought Gaz was very good. At 35 years of age, he doesn't need to be getting bulk touches. It's what he does when he gets it, and just the presence, just his presence, the little master. But the Cats were very good. Brisbane just looked off, didn't they? And it was, even it was brewing. That third quarter was brewing. It just felt like something was going to happen, and then it just went bang. Good to see Menegola amongst it again. And I think that, I like your call there, Nathan, about the Cats going to be there at the pointy end. But we're a third of the way through it. Who knows how many games you'll be playing back to back, and what will be happening with the next 100, as Shane said. So exciting still for Brisbane where they're at, but the 2 losses on the road would be a concern.
Big concern, but a lot of footy to be played in Queensland coming forward. So depends where the finals are going to be played, obviously. But Adelaide got destroyed by the commentators on old Seven Mate there. I'm with you, Nico. I thought he did great personally, but that's fine.
He's 35. You got to give these 35s a chance.
What a great age, eh? Great age.
Magnificent.
Mate, let's move on to your boys. You strategically tipped against them, and that obviously put a fire up their ass because they got the job done against a lackluster Hawthorn outfit, who I don't know which way to go with Hawthorn, but Collingwood getting the points. Nick, again, a lot to touch on with Collingwood. They're not firing, but they're doing enough, which is all you need to do.
Yeah, and Collingwood did just enough. Hawthorn were very ordinary. Collingwood were very good early, and then it's been the story of Collingwood's season in terms of really big starts and then not doing much. So 5 goals in the first term and then 3 for the rest of the match. Was it Hawthorn's lowest score under Clarkson? 3 goals, 9-27. Just a lot of commentary around women's scoring with the women's game and low scores. These scores are replicating women's footy, and that's, I know we touched on it with a lot of negativity at the top, but it's low scoring doesn't necessarily mean poor football, but it has been. And when you saw Collingwood break the shackles in that first term, you thought, geez, this could be good if they keep playing that. And then just something happens, whether they get told, rightio, we've had the fast start, let's just pull back a couple of gears. If that's what's being said, please stop. Let them keep going. It's shortened quarters. I know that Bucks has called today for an extra 2 blokes to sit on the bench as far as how that'll look with the shortened turnarounds. Is that going to improve scoring? Something needs to be done because you can't come out of the blocks like that and then just stop. And I know that Shane's team absolutely did that. We'll get to that a little later. But, for the Pies, I thought my man, Big Brody Mychek, he shows that you can still be a big power forward and touch the ball minimal, but do lots with it. So I think he only had 5 touches and kicked 4 goals. Yeah, 5 touches, 4 goals. Magnificent. That's like the old days. So when Pluggy used to kick bags, Shane, Plug would only touch the ball as many times as he kicked goals. That's all you need to do. That's what you're in the side to do. So It's not about not your Adam Treloar touches. I just don't like the old Dicky quick. The Scott brothers made names for themselves by doing that Dicky little handball around the back, and Treloar's one of those. So the Pies take the 4 points. Hawthorn looked ordinary. And then, as the media does, people are saying, is Clarkson past it? When Hawthorn beat Richmond a few weeks ago, everyone was saying, Clarkson, he's a master. Give him another 10 years. So we'll be talking next week about this is the best football's ever been. How good are the shortened quarters? How good are the hubs? How good's the low scoring? It's just fickle.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Just wanted to ask you just quickly, is there anything to Collingwood's quick starts out the gate and then just the little die off after halfway through the second? Is there anything there to be worried about, concerned about, or just a little bit of a beat up?
Well, I think, as I said, something's going on. Is it the coaches at quarter time saying, now let's hold, let's slow it down, there's nothing that's noticeable to the eye when you're watching. It does look like the opposition start to peg it back, but as I said, it is a concern because you want to just keep playing that. As far as whether you barrack for the side or not, if they start with that fashion of football and it's attractive to watch, keep going with it. You can't expect it to stay for 4 quarters, but 1 quarter, that's just odd, isn't it? It was 1 good quarter of football that won Collingwood the game. Shows you how bad Hawthorn was. 1 goal, no goals, 1 goal. Ugh, yucky.
Yucky's definitely the word. Shana, let's bring you into the conversation. Talk about your boys, mate. The unlosable game you lost.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think I should have mentioned Freo as part of that mix of the potential grand finalists. They were excellent. But can I just quickly touch on the previous point, just Nico, around the cotton wool effect. It's a very interesting one. I've got a couple of mates who are long-term punters, and they like to put their hard-earned on LeBron James' certain performance. And the NBA, absolutely, if they're dominating, they will ice their best players very early on. They will ice put LeBron on cotton wool. Absolutely, they play it in 2 days' time. I absolutely see that happening with a Collingwood performance like that from Friday night. They were on top. The Hawks had kicked a miserly 2 goals, 2 up until 3/4 time. They ended up kicking 3 goals, 9. It was just an awful game. But if they are looking at the sustained effort and the higher regularity of games, I think that's going to become more commonplace. That there will be more and more of that. So. But anyway, Saints. So So it was excellent. It was like a suburban outing.
Can I interview you, Shane?
What, Nick?
Can I interview you about this game? Because we can't. Well, we did discuss this, that you were going to attend the Metricon Stadium, and we did discuss the fact that there could be a invasion. Did you?
No. We're on the second tier. So it would have been difficult to.
Well, you shouldn't be with us, because if I barracked for St Kilda and I was sitting on the second tier of Metricon Stadium, I would be getting hosed off the seats below me.
I offered to drive the car home, and that was quickly denied by the people I was with at the time, because they thought I might use it as a weapon. And there was only maybe 3 or 4 purple-ridden supporters amongst the very small crowd down there at Metricon, but I had one in my sights, and it was a tough outing. But look, the fact we can put a quarter like that and then come home strong, kick 3 goals in a couple of minutes late in the 4th quarter, difficult to understand what happens. I've got a fair feeling that you might need to put a little bit of energy into a guy like Michael Walters, who's I don't know if anyone realised, but he's an absolute star of the game. He just ran rampant, second, third, most of the fourth quarter. I know there's a lot of people in the box, and they couldn't see that. I find that fascinating. Ended up with 26 touches, and if he doesn't get 3 Brownlow votes, I'll be extraordinarily surprised. So
yeah, but here's what they do, Shane. They go, oh, it's outside run. It's outside run, Walters. But yeah, they get the ball out to him, and then he just pinpoints blokes. And I thought Fife going forward, probably carrying the hammy, because you don't come back from a hammy on that turnaround, 10 days, whatever it was.
Yep.
But if St Kilda were playing against a Ross, I've said this a lot, it's like a broken record, a Ross Lyon coach Fremantle, the game is over at quarter time, because Ross then goes, we're going to lose by 5 or 6 goals. Let's lock this down. So from the Fremantle point of view, you've got to be absolutely rapt that you got Justin Longmuir in charge of your footy club, because they dared to dream. He remained positive throughout. They tried different things. He actually coached. He moved some magnets around. He Fife up forward, as I said, and they're playing okay. They really are. So disappointing for you, Shane, but you'll get to see the Saints play a couple more times, given the fact they're not heading back to Moorabbin, one of the epicenters of the COVID-19 situation.
True. Yes, yep.
I think that'll do in that game, Nathan, because we don't want Shane to leave the realm.
I've got the Stanley knife with me, but it's okay.
I did see him just go to get up. So we're moving on quickly, boys. West Coast getting it done over Adelaide Crows. There's not a lot that we haven't said about Adelaide. They're in all sorts. But West Coast just starting to kick into gear a little bit. I'm still not sold on them. I think they'll come home strong. That being said, I'll immediately retract my statement. But Nick, where are you putting West Coast, mate? Good signs, obviously, but consistency will be the issue.
Shane's point about West Coast going back to WA now. They finished 3-3 in the hub situation, which wasn't ideal. Western Australia's a long way away. So they'll get back and do great things, no doubt. But they played Adelaide. Like we said, we weren't going to discuss Adelaide on this show anymore. And did I see Matthew Nicks laughing in the press conference about the Nick Natanui, Rory O'Brien phone exchange? Like, yes, it was an unbelievable, great Telstra plug. It was well set up. But Matthew Nick saying, oh, geez, an outstanding character, and it's, it's fantastic for the big fella. Mate, you're at the head of one of the worst performing clubs. This is harking back to the Fitzroy eras. They're not competitive, Adelaide. They're not competitive. So don't be laughing about phone jokes where it's a Galaxy or a Samsung or whatever you're laughing at, Matthew. Get in there and bit of 1980s. Get some bricks down to training. Get him running with bricks. Get him running up hills. Get the gauntlet going. Get the circle going. Get a bloke in the middle and see if you can break out of it. Try something different that's going to get you guys doing something, Adelaide, because you're terrible. We weren't going to talk about them.
Could you imagine him proposing that right now to the Adelaide Crows? There would be a royal commission. Oh my God, he's imposing physical violence on his players, their assets, their employees of the AFL. Fuck me. He'll go back and it's just
it's Ben Hart's. So I will say this. So as a first-time senior coach, Matthew Nicks lost his right-hand man in Ben Hart, the senior assistant coach, who was at the centre of the they're allowed on the 6th and 7th holes, but not the 8th hole controversy when they came back into the hibernation quarantine hub situation before the season started. So he was the one who copped the suspension for that. So that'll be just about up now. So he might be coming back. So don't underestimate his level-headedness and calmness that he can provide. Matthew Nicks, I mean, I haven't seen Matthew Nicks go off as such, but that's probably one positive Adelaide can look forward to, getting some off-field support back. He unfortunately for him, he can't come and float in across half-back like he used to in the early 90s. But yeah.
They were firing before they camped. They were firing, Nico. They were absolutely.
How was Tex Walker going before the camp?
God. Jesus. Shane, look, I'm not going to take your brilliant one-liner, but mate, Melbourne learning how to close out a game, which was fantastic for them, not so much for the Gold Coast Suns, chalking up a loss here against Melbourne. They would have had this marked as a win, I think. It would have been in their budget for victories. But, Melbourne obviously getting it done over Gold Coast. Shane, did you catch much of this one?
I watched heaps of it. I thought it was a really, really exciting game down there at Blacktown. It was fun. Petrarca played well, which is always important. It makes any Melbourne game look a bit more sprightly when Christian comes and plays a big game, and he played an absolutely pivotal role. And look, Isaac, let's talk about him. We just need a little bit of Isaac to be spread across the landscape right now. That outside step or whatever it was, and then the snap across the shoulder, and I don't know. I pose it to you guys. I must unveil it on the world now. But
Yes.
You can only. I had absolutely no idea how many ranking points, but I think we should actually.
There it is.
We could maybe use that movie for the excitement, the energy, the player from around who brings something totally sparkling and exciting and brings people back to watch the bloody footy. The rank, he was. What a debut. He got a little bit fatigued late, but he also had some chances late to kick more than his three. Oh, so three? Three. But could have kicked five. And
miss some set shots. Miss some set shots late, Shane.
You did, yeah. Absolutely.
Let's not get too carried away.
Oh, come on.
Second kick wasn't the best.
So exciting. Oh, thank God. We need him.
But you're right. He's something special, but let's not stifle him, because if you look at his highlights packages, he was drafted a couple of years ago. I think he was picked up number 3.
Yep.
A couple of years ago. Well, the Coaches might have been before him, and Carlton would have had Sammy Welsh. That's number 1. Yeah. So I know the talk was, did Carlton get it wrong? That's what the media love to do, just to let's take a story and run with it. But he was outstanding. But what was outstanding at this game was the fact that Melbourne, as you said, could finish off a game and stay and hang tough. And it was gritty, and you don't associate gritty, tough wins against the Gold Coast, but they're a good side now. So well done to the D's for that. And the romance around Harley Bennell, who's had more chances than 25 Monopoly sets hidden in the back of your house. He must have something, Harley Bennell, because I reckon he's had more chances than Collingwood players over the last 20 years, because as a football club, Collingwood boys can stuff up, but Harley's had the injuries, he's had the drug issues, he's had the social issues, but geez, he seems well loved by his teammates. That celebration at the end of the game was it was a little bit emotional, and
absolutely.
His big mate Stephen May, who a former teammate from the Suns, was right there in his face. And good on the D's. They're still no good. They've scraped in against the Gold Coast. So it was a bit like when you used to flick over to the ABC at midday. Growing up in Melbourne, you flick it over to the ABC at midday on a Sunday and watch the VFA game of the day. That was pretty similar standard.
Fair enough. Mate, are we going to keep a little eye on ranking? Should we get a new segment? How do you rank him? How are you ranking something? Shano? Nothing?
Mate, absolutely. I really hope he comes out this week and kicks at least one and shows a bit of spark. I hope that flair just permeates and stays in that forward line, because it's a bloody exciting bunch. You got Alex down there, Alex and Ben King leading out. He is extraordinary.
He's the greatest in Kilda in a couple of years, isn't he?
Oh, we're hoping. We're always hoping.
Mate, they're playing Sydney, mate. He'll kick 3 at least, surely.
Well, hopefully they're 3 of the most exciting goals, and I can just go off my rocker next week. I'm going to lose it.
Amen. All right. Well, Essendon, talk about exciting teams. They're looking all right, I guess. And as you pointed out, Nick, they might be just under the radar a bit. But 67 versus North Melbourne 53. The Kangers, not very good. But look, poor kicking again. But Tip and Woody, one of my favourite players. Shane, Essendon, mate, I hope they string it together. And old mate Joey Danaher to get the Brownlow. What did we say? 2023.
Yeah. Look, no one's really talking about Joey too much, and
he's injured again. And
okay. Oh, right, okay. Has he found his place on the North Shore yet?
Yeah, well, I think that there's some Victorian teams that are talking about him as well now. So he won't play another game for Essendon. I think we said that at the start of the Up and About podcast series. He will not play for Essendon ever again.
Yep.
He doesn't want to. I'm not sure if he's injured or if he's injured. Yeah.
Oh, injured.
Under the radar, aren't they? Under the radar.
Absolutely. And I was just looking through some of their prime movers. They got McGrath, who's the number 1 draft pick from a couple of years ago. Devon Smith, Parrish, Sard, Fantasia. Some of their key possession winners. They're all pretty exciting attacking footballers, particularly Sard off that half back line.
What about the pig? Ham. Hey, the pig. You like that? Ham.
I do like it. Yeah,
Thank you.
Player. Yep. So anyway, they're exciting. It'll be interesting to see when they can make up their match. It'll be a bit slotted in, I'm sure, over the next couple of weeks. But good side. Kangaroos have gone off the boil in a pretty big way. Just lost that passion, that energy at the pill. So, well, it's exciting. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, well, let's move it on, boys. Shane, we'll stick with yourself, mate. You are the only one that tipped Port Adelaide, getting it done over GWS Giants. Myself and Nico opting for a bit of faith with GWS, and we were burnt. So Port Adelaide getting it done. Looked a lot better than GWS, who a few questions already. Young side up in the head. Anyway, Shane, well done.
The travel effect. Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah. It went from quite a decent amount of research went into that tip. So, yeah, good to see a bit of hard work coming off. But, yeah, look, I wouldn't be too concerned. It was a pretty reasonable match. And two, I think sides who will certainly be battling out in the final. So, GWS just had that missing a little bit of that funk and the spark from the previous week. Port Adelaide, I think the match against Brisbane was a bit of a blip. So they were back to their pretty strong, pretty committed self and played well. So are the Power headed back now, Nico? Do you know?
Yeah, they've been back. I think they've been back in Adelaide and they're just flying back here, so they're allowed to do the in and out. What's the go with Steve Coniglio? So all the talk this week on some of the great shows is about, and they're highlighting his 5 or 6 horrendous disposals where he's just sort of panicked and hacked it forward, like a former coach of the Maine Football Club, just hacks it forward. But he on the AFL website, he's been listed as second best. So I know I don't have a genuine dislike for people, but I don't understand. You can highlight snippets of anyone's game and blow them up, and that's what people do. But there must be someone coming back to lose his spot, because 1, he's the captain of the football club.
Yeah.
2, he's a player. I know that they're trying him across half forward, but geez, it seems to for me, and who hasn't watched a great deal of the Giants, just from seeing the highlights, as in the legitimate highlights packages when you watch them, he's been looking okay. But the package they put together of him against the Power on the weekend, he did look horrendous, but he's listed as second best in the paper. So
he had 22 touches. He's a skipper.
I'm confused.
They need to put time into him. He didn't play the second half of last year. Obviously missed the grand final. So what? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you, Nico. It just seems like, is there someone who's going to come in for Steve Coniglio right now to say, yeah, you're a better side? No, they're going to keep putting time into him.
Dylan Buckley? Is Dylan Buckley still on the Giants list? Could he come in and fill that role? I mean, what? It's just
22 touches in the skipper in a losing performance. It's not his fault that they lost. So, yeah, whatever.
How good was Kenny? Did you see Kenny, Barndog? Did you see Kenny Hinkley in the circle after the game?
Oh, yeah. Passionate. Getting a few old, poses, tenses. Loved it, mate.
He's a very intense man, Kenneth, and he used to coach a team down Bellarine, the Geelong League, Bell Park Football Club. Do yourself a favour, everyone, and Google Ken Hinkley Bell Park Football Club and have a look at his impassioned 3/4 time speech. He's so direct and measured. It's fantastic. But AFL Live membership, fantastic. Go on you, Kenny. And he's one of the nice guys of the competition. I like his old fashioned ways. And well done to the Power. And it's good to see them wearing a jumper with teal in it.
Great for Koshy as well, Nico. Don't forget about Koshy.
Is Koshy still co-hosting the Sunrise program with the Cash Cow?
No, he is the Cash Cow.
But he sits beside. Is the cash cow sit beside him?
Maybe we can get the cash cow on here. Little sponsor. But
she tweets. She tweets.
Oh, stop it. It's a she. Oh, that makes sense. It's a cow. Yeah. Right. Mate, are Port Adelaide the real deal or not?
Yeah, they have to be. They have to be. Like, we're a third of the way through the year. They've presented themselves beautifully being away from Adelaide. They've played the one game, so they'll get a chunk of games. Yeah, the season was compromised. It's even more compromised now, knowing that we're not playing any football in Victoria for the home and away season. So I guess these interstate clubs, I should say, actually fix that up. Everyone's an interstate club because it's a national competition. But the clubs who are interstate of Victoria can now say they get a slight edge on this season. So if a Victorian team was to win this premiership, it would be asterisks for sure, because it would mean more than anything. They're away from their families. They're away from their training facilities. They're away from their luxuries. So these clubs have done the heavy lifting early for the Victorian teams to now carry the season home. Interesting stuff. But yeah, the Power, they're going to be absolutely at the pointy end. Fair
enough. I hope they don't win it. But let's move it on. Look, let's not say a lot about this next match. I might sum it up with this. Richmond 4-10-34, Sydney 3-8-26. The coach has said a lot. It's simple. Go direct, kick straight, kick goals. It would have looked a lot better. It was a shit game. Let's move on. Mm-hmm. Carlton getting it done over Western Bulldogs, who were extremely disappointing. All of us picked Western Bulldogs. It was theirs to win. Carlton, to their credit, looked the goods, mate. Forwards doing a great job. Again, they took the game on, direct up the guts. The key forwards doing their job. So, Shane, Carlton 16-7. That's good kicking in today's environment. 103 versus Western Bulldogs, 7-9-51. Mate, Carlton looked very, very good.
Absolutely. And thank God, after coming home after the debacle that was the Sunday afternoon game, came home to the pleasantries and a bucket of chicken and watched this, and it was excellent. So Big Eduardo, 4 goals, 1. He brought a little bit of cash into the kitty. He was a star. Big Harry Mackay. He's being the rave reviews are coming, and they're comparing him to Buddy already. So that's all very, very great. But solid. They were fun. They kick 100 points. Let's just remind everyone that 100 points isn't that. It's not that extreme. It's not that exciting. The quarters are only 20% shorter. So this is a typical, through some maths when you but this will be 120, 125 point result in a 20-minute quarter. So let's just don't get too excited about the 100 score. But overall, they're good to watch. They're in the 8. The Baggers are in the 8 for the first time in a century. But good to watch. They were fun. And the big man, David Teague, has got them playing a pretty nice brand of footy.
Nick, you want to focus on Carlton or Bulldogs, mate? Carlton look at the goods. Bulldogs on paper have a lot more to offer. I don't know what's going on down there. But which team do you want to spend 20 seconds on?
I'll spend 20 seconds on Carlton. Excited for, I'll do a little segment here. Excited for Eddie Betts, the old boy, kicking 4 sausages. He's so exciting to watch. I love watching Eddie. He just loves playing footy. He's a joy to watch. Two concerns. One for Carlton in Murph. He had the opportunity to use those hands of his inside forward 50 and just jittered and panicked a little bit and kicked a couple of points there. Just looks like just time's catching up on him. And my concern for the Dogs is big forwards. It's about how you back it up, Josh Bruce. And as I look at the stat sheet, I see 2 big Krispy Kremes beside his score tally after kicking 6 last week, and everyone's saying it's the return of the power forward. You said that Josh Bruce, Nathan, is mixing it with the likes of Charlie Dixon at the moment. Josh Bruce.
Hang on. I didn't say that. It was being spoken about. He was being compared by other more intelligent people than myself. But
well, it shows you where footy's at in this day and age, because Josh Bruce and Charlie Dixon, they wouldn't carry Tony Lockett's, Jason Dunstall's, Gary Ablett's, Ronnie McEwen's, James Manson's, all these great power forwards of years gone by. These blokes wouldn't carry their boots. They would not carry their boots. So, anywho, Carlton, I'm wrapped for a really look. I'm going to do this, Shane. A really great mate of mine who I haven't spoken to in a while. When I saw the Blues have the win, I reached down to the phone and I gave him a call. He didn't answer, but if you're watching tonight, Doggy, I absolutely love you, mate, and rock the cash bolt, rock the Levi cash bolt.
There you go. All right, boys, let's get into the this week's tips. So we got quite possibly, I'm putting this down as the match of the round, mate. A lot to play for. Collingwood, I feel, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, but they will want to put on a bit of a show here against a strong Geelong side. They'd be wanting to make a statement and, I guess, cement their spot in the competition. So all that being said, I'm going to go – oh, shit. Should have thought about this beforehand. I'm going to go Geelong. Shano, who would you like to put your vote towards?
DeGoey coming back. I think it's important. Even Dacos, I think Dacos has been really important for you guys earlier this year. But DeGoey to come back to feature, to add a bit of spark up forward and through the middle. There's a bit of a training block over there. So, Pies for me.
Nico.
Collingwood and Optus Stadium have a beautiful relationship. We knocked West Coast off there last year to just reboot the year, and we'll beat Geelong over there. I'm not happy with DeGoey's inclusion. He's been picked on name. Jordan's done nothing this year. Do something. And you're right, Shane. Dacos has been good. So a couple of injuries, but watch for Brody Myercheck for the punters. Brody Myercheck at $12 to kick your first goal.
Yeah, great odds, that one. Throw that into a $1.30 special from eSports. But all right, moving on. Essendon will get the job done versus a lackluster Western Bulldogs team who are still trying to find something with the talents that they have. Nick, where are you putting your vote?
This is a game that the Western Bulldogs can win. Their best is good enough. But I said before, and this joke flew under the radar, but I said the Essendon Bombers are flying under the radar. Okay, that went down well again, Essendon.
No, I like that.
Good.
There's a couple of sensitive nations that this podcast gets sent out to, so...
hello, the state of Victoria.
Wow.
Good call.
Shots fired.
Oh, nice. Doggies for me. I think they'll recover. They're not that bad. Wolf. Yeah, the Bombers, I don't think are that good. They're playing an exciting brand, so I think even the Doggies from last Sunday, they were trying to play an exciting brand. They were trying to score. So I'm hoping to get down there on Friday night, spend a little bit of time down there at the Star Casino and to the lavish surround. So if I arrive and I'm a little bit under the weather, just send us an upgrade. I'm pretty important. So get on the Doggies.
Amen. All right, gents. For me, probably the second match of the round. Brisbane Lions will get it done versus GWS. Nico, where are you putting your vote? Any thoughts on here?
I am thinking the Giants. I'm thinking the Giants just based on it being in New South Wales and Brisbane haven't won on the road this year. It's a toss of the coin. I think it'll be a ripping game. Saturday 1:45. I won't see a minute of it. But the Giants just.
Shano, mate, where are you putting your vote here?
Same here. Yeah. I think the Giants, they're going to be they'll be recoiling a little bit after their performance on Sunday. They weren't their usual self. So I think the Giants will get the job done. Yep.
Fair enough. I've got the Suns getting up over Sydney, which is a little bit of a check with my heart, but we'll keep a watch on Rankin and see how he ranks. Shane, who's winning this one, mate?
Well, hopefully there's a return of Ben Ronk, but I think he's out for a couple of extra weeks, so he's got a knee for 2 weeks. So Ronk and Rank won't be participating. But anyway, no, I think the Swans, and I hope that whatever the competing match is at 4:30 on a Saturday afternoon in Rubber League at Leichhardt Oval scores more. That's my tip for the weekend.
Did you say Sydney? Sorry. I think
Yep, maybe 18 to 13.
That's about right. Nico?
Gold Coast to win this because Gold Coast have Rankin and Sydney are rank.
Oh, all right. All right.
Go.
All right, gents. We got Jesus. I'm going to go Richmond because North Melbourne are terrible. Nothing more. Nick?
Richmond. North Melbourne have been pretty ordinary. I did listen to SEN this afternoon and heard Brady Rawlings, the football manager, and I know that the Kangaroos are really keen to potentially hub in Tasmania as one at some point if Tasmania do something with their borders. But yeah, you'd have to say the Tigers on nothing but.
Sorry, Nick.
Well, that's okay, Shane. You can interrupt me anytime you like. I'll say nothing but reputation.
Shane?
Oh, thanks, Nick. Thanks, Nathan. I think the Tigers. I still can't put last Sunday out of my mind, but I'll be able to sleep at some stage. But yeah, they'll come back. They're both pretty difficult sides to enjoy at the moment. But yeah, go the Tigers.
All right, gents, we've got an interesting one here, mate. Carlton are up. They're looking to get up and about. But a good test for Port Adelaide. I think if Carlton's key forwards fire like they did, they'll be very hard to stop. This will be my upset of the round. I'm going to go Carlton. Come on, boys.
Port Adelaide.
I'll go Port Adelaide in the highest scoring game of the round. This will be a ripper. Weather dependent. 1:00 at beautiful one day, perfect the next. Vagaba, future grand final destination. But yeah, Port Adelaide, they'll be up for it. They know Carlton's coming, but look, they lost 2 weeks ago to the mighty Saints, so I can't look into the form too much for the Baggers, but the power.
Fair enough. All right, let's fly through these. This is a bit of a tough one. Hawthorn, who are not playing very well, versus Melbourne, who are shit. So I'm going to go Hawthorn on trust. Nick?
Hawthorn on reputation.
Shane?
Melbourne on winning form.
I'm going to go West Coast. Do you boys agree?
Agree.
Oh, I don't know. Those Dockers, they were sparkling last week. Yep.
They only beat St Kilda, Shane. Settle down.
It's only St Kilda. All right, and here we go.
Don't do it, Nathan. Don't do it.
Mate, this is a tough test for you boys. They'll be wanting to prove a point. Look, Adelaide against St Kilda, it's a tough opponent. So, look, I'm going to go with my heart, and I hope for your sake, St Kilda get up.
Oh.
Nick, are you going to join me in support of Shane?
This is a Monday night training session. St Kilda win. They're playing Adelaide. Adelaide are pathetic. They're terrible. They're shocking.
Yeah, right.
St Kilda win.
Yeah.
St Kilda win.
It's St Kilda. This show will be filmed in 48 hours after this match.
It will. It will. It's a Monday night action. How good's that?
Thanks. Go the Saints, not with any conviction. I'd love to, but Saints to win. Just
fantastic, mate. We'll be calling you if they do lose, and you'll have to wear something atrocious, I feel. But mate, where is your short pass going?
My short pass?
That's it, Shano. Where are you hitting it?
I think Nico, go to you first.
Yeah, I've got a short pass. My short pass is to Peter V'landys and anyone who writes opinion pieces about rugby league in News Limited newspapers. Stop. It's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. You've got ghostwriters to make sure that you're literate and you can spell. You're a joke. Like, it shouldn't be AFL versus NRL, but for Peter V'landys to come out during the week and say that the AFL grand final is second rate. I know for a fact that the NRL give away grand final tickets to school children in the week leading in. There's never been a sellout at an NRL grand final in the last decade. You're an embarrassment. Yeah, you've done some great things to keep your sport going, but you know what? The AFL has come back hard with how they're now hubbing in the Sunshine State here and getting the game going. A national sport that's played across the country, alive, not a sport that's played in one state with a couple of teams north of the border. So settle down, get back in your box, And I will name one. It was Gordon Tallis' article on the weekend. It was an absolute and utter disgrace. A disgrace. So Peter V'landys. What did Chocker do? Peter V'landys. Well, he did the choking of the he did the choking. Alan Scott, you were wrong. Well, Peter V'landys, get back to dealing with corruption in horse racing. That's where you applied your craft. So do that. Shane, have you thought of one now that I've sprayed rubber league?
Oh yeah, it's just feel the heat and energy. I'm nervous about the AFL's 150% commitment into Southeast Queensland as the solution. All I can think of, and I love my friends up here in Brisbane and border Queensland, but we've made some pretty awful decisions over the journey. We've always been spoken to and spoken down to from our neighbours to the south. So I trust that our chief medical teams have got this under control, but I'm wary of just this 150% absolute commitment of 10 teams into the southeast corner. The fact that the virus is coming north, it's hitting Sydney. I think the Kangaroos are making a very prudent call by heading to the Upper Isle. We might be playing an AFL Grand Final. Get your book out at Bellerive.
Jesus Christ!
Oh,
all right, fair enough.
I like that, Shane. That might be clashing with the Hobart Hurricanes round 3 clash, but
In the Gabba.
Have you got a short pass, Doggy?
I do, mate. My short pass goes to every AFL team this week. Take the game on. We want you to kick the ball long, hit your forwards up, give them something.
Get it
anything.
in.
Take the ball, take the game on. And Nick, why don't we try something special and throw us out with who? Show us your shirt, brother. What's going on?
Yeah, so just not that we have any sponsors or anything, but if anyone out there is looking for a high quality garment, a mate of mine, particularly during these times, everyone's doing it tough. I think this guy's going along quite well, but does a great job. LRF Sport. Look him up on the socials. Look them up on their website. They do a great footy jumper. They do all sports, school gear, senior jerseys. They do the whole kit and caboodle. So tell them Nic sent you. Doing great things. And happy birthday to Luke, celebrating 5 years with the business. So well done.
All right, gents. Absolute pleasure as usual. I will speak to you soon. Ladies and gents, we'll see you back here next Wednesday, 7:30. All right.